Alright, let's dive into something that's been making headlines recently, and honestly, it's about time. The UK government just announced plans to open mental health support centers in places like banks and libraries. Yeah, you heard that right. Banks, libraries. Not exactly the first places that come to mind when you think about mental health care, but personally, I think this is a game changer. What makes this really interesting is the shift in accessibility. No referrals needed, just walk in. It's like they're finally acknowledging that mental health support shouldn't be tucked away in specialized clinics, but integrated into everyday spaces. From my perspective, this could be a huge step in destigmatizing mental health care, making it as normal as grabbing a book from the library or checking your bank balance. Now, let's break this down a bit. Prime Minister Andy Burnham called these centers a lifeline, and I get why. The stats are staggering. 2.36 million people in England were on a waiting list for mental health services as of May 2026. That's up from 1.95 million just 2 years prior. Think about that for a second. Millions of people waiting months for help, often ending up in overcrowded A&E departments because there's nowhere else to go. What this really suggests is that the system has been failing people for far too long. These new centers, along with 59 dedicated mental health emergency departments, are part of what's being called the biggest redesign of mental health services in a generation. Bold claim, but if executed well, it could be transformative. One thing that immediately stands out is the focus on early intervention. Health Secretary Yvette Cooper mentioned preventing more people from reaching crisis, and that's key. What many people don't realize is that mental health care isn't just about treating crises, it's about preventing them in the first place. By placing these centers in high-street locations, they're making it easier for people to seek help before things spiral. I mean, if you're already at the library or running errands, why not pop in for a check-in? It's a small change, but it could make a massive difference. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, funding. This initiative is backed by £343 million, which sounds impressive until you consider the scale of the problem. Is it enough? Personally, I'm skeptical. Mental health care has been chronically underfunded for decades, and while this is a step in the right direction, it's just that, a step. What this really highlights is the need for sustained investment, not just one-off announcements. If you take a step back and think about it, this is just the beginning of a much larger conversation about how we prioritize mental health as a society. Another detail I find fascinating is the collaboration with charities, like Rethink Mental Illness in Mind. Brian Dow from Rethink Mental Illness pointed out that these centers can transform experiences of care by bringing treatment and support services under one roof. That's huge. Too often, mental health care feels fragmented, therapy here, medication there, support groups somewhere else. Streamlining that process could make a world of difference. Tom Pollard from Mind also emphasized the urgency, noting that people's mental health often worsens because they can't access overstretched services. It's a stark reminder of how critical these changes are. But here's the thing. While this announcement is promising, it's not without its challenges. The first centers are set to open this autumn, with more rolling out from March 2027. That's a long time for someone in crisis to wait. And let's not forget, this is part of a larger mental health strategy that's still in the works. The independent review into mental health conditions, ADHD, and autism is due in the autumn, and I'm curious to see how its findings will shape this initiative. What this really raises is a deeper question. Are we doing enough, and are we doing it fast enough? In my opinion, this is a step in the right direction, but it's just that, a step. The real test will be in the execution. Will these centers be adequately staffed? Will they be accessible to everyone, regardless of where they live? And most importantly, will they actually reduce wait times and prevent crisis? These are the questions we need to keep asking. Because while this announcement is a ray of hope, it's also a reminder of how much work still needs to be done. If you take a step back and think about it, mental health care isn't just a policy issue, it's a human issue. And it's about time we started treating it like one. So what do you think? Is this the kind of change we need, or is it too little too late? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Because honestly, these are the conversations we need to be having, now more than ever.